Start immediately. Adjust as you go. Have you ever experienced this? You wanted to write something, but spent the entire day tweaking the title, brainstorming the structure, researching, and ended up with nothing written. You wanted to learn a new skill, bought a course, made a plan, set goals, but 3 months passed and you hadn't started. You wanted to confess your feelings, but kept waiting for the perfect moment when your mood, timing, and the atmosphere were just right. And then what? You didn't write. You didn't learn. You didn't speak. You thought you were waiting for a better opportunity, but in reality, you were quietly draining your own energy. In psychology, there's a term called action paralysis. It's not that we're incapable, but we fear imperfection at the starting point so much, we'd rather not start at all. But those who truly master their lives think the exact opposite. They don't wait for everything to be ready before taking action. They start first and adjust along the way. The fastest way to improve is not prepare until you're ready, but start first, and you'll naturally get ready. Today, let's talk about why starting roughly is life's biggest leverage. 1. Think it through before you act is a trap. Think as you go is the real way. Most people spend their lives stuck in one line. I'll start when I'm ready. It sounds reasonable, but its logic is entirely flawed. In reality, true preparation only begins after you take action. Thinking it through doesn't mean you can pull it off. No matter how perfect your plan is, reality will force you to adjust. No matter how much knowledge you store, experience only comes through doing. Cognitive neuroscience research shows the brain is terrible at predicting future events. Over 80% of your assumptions about how things will go turn out wrong. The most effective way is to start first and correct course through feedback. So stop asking yourself, am I ready? And start asking, why haven't I started yet? 2. Starting rough is the best cure for perfectionism. On the surface, perfectionism seems like a responsibility to outcomes. But in truth, it's just an excuse to avoid action. You don't insist on being perfect before starting. You just use perfection as a reason to procrastinate. Struggling to write the first sentence. Deep down, you're afraid people will think it's bad. Putting off speech practice until the last minute. You're afraid of exposing your nerves on stage. Delaying a side project endlessly. You're afraid of people looking down on your early, half-baked work. But guess what? Everyone who's good at something started out terribly. The masterful works you admire, best-selling books, top podcasts, brilliant online courses, all began as ugly, messy, even embarrassing drafts. It's not about how bad you start. It's about whether you start at all. The sooner you expose your problems, the sooner you can begin improving. 3. How your brain works. Action is the switch that unlocks potential. From a neuroscience perspective, your brain has 2 learning paths: offline simulation, imagining, planning, predicting, energy draining, low accuracy. Online iteration, doing, receiving feedback, adjusting, realistic, highly effective. When you keep rehearsing in your head, worrying, imagining scenarios, you're burning mental energy without producing real results. Only when you physically start, your neural circuits truly begin to rewire. A simple example, you want to learn to dance. Watching 100 videos won't teach you as much as actually dancing for 10 minutes. This is called mental activation. It's not about understanding everything first and then acting, but acting first and letting your brain adapt along the way. Each adjustment you make sharpens your skills. You get smarter, faster, more efficient. Progress comes not from thinking more, but from doing more. 4. Every skill follows these 3 phases: ugly, forming, polishing. Why do you stay stuck at the starting line? Because you're trying to skip the ugly phase. You refuse to face your clumsiness, your awkwardness, your lack of fluency. You don't want to admit, I'm not good at this yet. But this is the exact path every skill must go through. Ugly phase. Actions are stiff, chaotic, without order, but you've begun. Forming phase. structure starts to appear, patterns emerge, but still unstable. Polishing phase, refining, optimizing, slowly achieving mastery. Nobody jumps from 0 to 3 directly. Every expert you admire once went through a long period of being terrible at it. You must allow yourself to be bad first, before you have the right to get good. 5. Those who truly go far share one mindset: act first, refine later. You probably know people like this. Their work isn't perfect, but they consistently put things out. They started with a lower skill level than you, but after 2 years, they're 3 times ahead. Not the smartest, but brave enough to get on the field early, make mistakes, and end up winning. That's the act first mindset, not relying on talent. Not waiting for perfect opportunities, just courage to start, willingness to improve, and persistence to keep going. Behavioral psychology research shows the moment you start taking action is when your willpower is strongest. Once you take the first step, everything after becomes easier to follow through. The real masters aren't the ones who thought about it the longest, they're the ones who acted earliest. Not the ones with higher starting points, but the ones who refused to overthink and just took off. Afraid of losing face, you'll lose opportunities. Afraid of making mistakes, you'll miss out on growth. Be brave. Even if what you produce at first is garbage, it's still something. Because real progress only ever happens after you get your hands moving.